Today we're going to talk about video marketing. I know video is really popular nowadays, with YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. You're probably scrolling through those feeds, seeing a lot of video. Let me just take a quick poll. How many people in this room right now have done a video on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook? Let me see those hands. Now, was that a video? Now, keep them up if it was for your business. Excellent. So you guys are pretty savvy YouTubers in here. No? All right, well, we'll change that by the time we get out of here. First of all, I just want to start with branding versus marketing. So tomorrow, she mentioned I'm doing another seminar about marketing your business for the now. We're going to give you tips and tactics on how to use social media and how to leverage the things that we talk about today with video to get customers. But the difference to me between branding and marketing is branding builds your brand and the exposure and the knowingness of your business without having to spend marketing dollars giving discounts and offers. So that's the difference. So video, which we're going to talk about today, gives you the opportunity to build up your brand. It's more of a long-term strategy versus a short-term strategy. Marketing is, hey, use this coupon code, come in today. Branding is building up your brand and getting people to know, like, and trust you so that when they do think of whatever product it is you're serving in your market, they think of you. I think the gentleman before us said something about review sites or Groupon. What we try to do is we try to teach you to use video as a way to be on the offense rather than the defense. So branding gives you the ability to be on the offense. We want to teach you how to get in front of the customers over the long term using video as a way to say, whatever it is you sell, burgers, pizza, whatever it is. When they think of that, they think of you because they've seen you on Facebook, they've seen you on Instagram, they've seen you on YouTube over and over and over again, multiple times, and then they just think of you rather than having to give them a coupon or use Groupon or Grubhub to find new customers to get them into your restaurant. So why should you listen to me, first of all? I always do these seminars and I always watch these seminars. In the back of my head, I'm always thinking to myself, why should I listen to this guy or gal who's on stage talking to me right now? We're not selling any products, so at the end of this, we're not going to sell you anything. But we do host a podcast that I talked about. We've talked to over 500 people in the restaurant industry, and what we've gathered is the best information from all of them. That's what's made them successful, what's made them different from the other people in their industry, what's made them different, and what are they doing differently than the other people who are doing the same exact thing but are struggling, finding help, building sales, running a successful team. What are they doing? The actual reason I started the podcast was because I was a restaurant owner myself, 2 restaurants in the Boston area. So I'm from Boston, so I talk a little quick, have a little accent. Sorry about that. I know you guys are in the Midwest, so maybe I'll slow down a little bit for you if I'm going too quick. But the reason I started the podcast was I wanted to know, we had 2 locations, and we were having a hard time finding the right people to build our team. How do you grow to 3 locations? How do you build those systems? What are those guys out there who have 4, 5, 10 locations doing differently than us that we're having a hard time and they seem not to be? So I said podcasting was pretty popular. This was 4 or 5 years ago. I said, I'm going to start a podcast. And what can I do with a podcast that I can't do personally myself? What I can do is I can have a platform where I can invite those people on that I want to talk to and say, hey, come join me on my podcast. And it gives me an opportunity to ask them questions in a one-on-one basis for 30 minutes in a row. And that's literally how the podcast started. And that turned into us producing episode after episode consistently week over week, and people asking us to help them in their marketing. What are we doing? What were we doing to get the word out there for these other people we're working with, ourselves, and for the customers that we work with? So that's how the podcast started. Now, we're here to talk about video, so let's get into some stats. Stats about video. By 2020, which is next year, online video is going to make up more than 80% of all consumer internet traffic, 85% in the US. So if you don't believe in video or believe that it's important, you're making a huge mistake. A staggering 84% of buyers reported that they have been convinced to buy a product after watching a video. Raise your hand if you've seen an Instagram ad on stories. Does everybody know what stories is, Instagram stories? Raise your hand if you swiped up and bought something. Yeah, I'm going to raise my hand because I actually have. So a lot of people are doing that nowadays, and that's a huge way to start video on social media to get people to buy. Now, I'll get into a little logistics of that after. 78% of people watch online videos every week, and 55% view online videos every day. 45% of the people watch more than an hour of Facebook or YouTube videos every week. I don't know if anybody in here has children, but that seems really low for me. An hour of Facebook or YouTube videos is like what they do in the course of by the time they get home to school, by the time dinner starts. That's like 4 hours a day for me. Constantly yelling at our kids to get off YouTube, and they're like, Dad, what else are we going to do? Social video generates 1,200% more shares than text and images content combined. So if you're not doing video, you're missing out on a huge percentage of people who are going to share that content compared to just copy, which is just the words that are written on there, in an image. Which means everybody's watching video. Everybody and everything. There's not a person in your house who doesn't watch video online. Does anybody know who these people are? I mean, that's George Costanza. That's one of my favorite shows, and I'm going to talk about him in a minute. But Logan Paul, PewDiePie, I don't even know how to say that third one, Mark Kipler, Jeffree Star, Dan, and Jake Paul. Those are all YouTube stars. Next to that is the amount of revenue they make on a yearly basis. So they started on YouTube, and Logan Paul makes $14.5 million a year on YouTube. What does Logan Paul do? I actually don't know what he does, but he produces videos on YouTube, and a lot of people watch him, and he makes a crap ton of money. So that just tells you that there's an opportunity for us to produce video, and you may not be Logan Paul. So let's get our expectations set. Like, we're not going to leave here and become a Jake Paul and make $21.5 million by producing videos about what kind of burgers we make. But it's going to tell your customers who you are and what you do, and become personal. The reason that you want to do video is there's a know, like, and trust factor. And video lets you have that know, like, and trust factor much more than photos or just written word does. Now, I went to my kids and I said, I don't know who any of these people are. Do you? And this is the face they gave me. They're like, are you serious? You don't know who any of those people are? I was like, really? You know, I actually don't know who any of them are. I was just doing research for this. We did this seminar, and I wanted to see who the top producing YouTube stars were. And they looked at me like they were embarrassed that I was their dad at that point. So let's get into some tactics now. Yeah, hopefully I've come across that video is important. You're interested in producing video, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Let's get into some types of video. There's a few different types of video that you should be producing right now that are easy to produce. And we'll get into some tools and tips on how to do that in a little bit. But for now, live video. Live video was a little bit hotter a year ago than it is now. But with Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, and now LinkedIn has live video. Live video is something that is popular. And you can use live video to come across. Now, it's not for everybody. You know, if you're really nervous or you need a script or you're not good on the fly, live video may not be for you. So it may not be the choice or the option that you want to choose. But if you can get comfortable doing it, it gives you a great opportunity to interact in real time with your customers. There's nothing like hopping on a live video, and we do live videos all the time. There's nothing like hopping on a live video or letting your customers know you're going to be on a live video and answering questions that come in real time. That interaction on a one-on-one basis that you can get with your customers is much better than it would be creating a video and then posting it on Instagram and then walking away and seeing all those people leave comments and you not being there. The second one is edited video. I think the gentleman before me talked a little bit about video, and he showed a really highly produced video, which was B-roll, music in the background, just showing your clips of your food from clip to clip. So B-roll is, if you're not familiar, is when you watch a video, there's face to camera, and then sometimes you'll hear somebody talking in the background, and they show clips of food or people walking around the kitchen or in the restaurant. That's called B-roll while you have somebody else talking over it. That would be a really highly produced video. There's stories, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. That's a really easy way for you to get started with video using Instagram stories or Snapchat or even Facebook stories because it goes away in 24 hours. And then there's short form and long form. I don't think that for a restaurant, is everybody here restaurant owners? Everybody raise your hand if you're a restaurant owner. What else would you be? Managers? Well, that's what I mean, like work in the restaurant. Either a manager, the marketing person for the restaurant, or the owner. Everybody in here is that? So I don't think anybody for the restaurant space needs to really be concerned with long form video because our consumers' attention span is really small. We're not going to be producing 8 to 10 minute shows about whatever it is that our customers are going to care about or stick around long enough to watch those. We need to really be in that 60-second to 2 to 3 minute tops space in order to be able to keep their attention. Unless you are really charismatic and a character, then you may be able to have a show. And we do have some clients or friends of ours who are producing vlogs. Does everybody know what a vlog is? All right. For those not familiar, a vlog is a blog in video form. It's basically documenting what you do throughout the course of a day or week, producing that into a video, and then putting that out on the different platforms. We do have some customers who are doing that, but they have really unique characters that they work with, and they're becoming kind of central characters in the show, or themselves are really animated or charismatic on camera. How do you implement? We call it the Costanza method. Does everybody watch the show Seinfeld or familiar with the show Seinfeld? All right, it's one of my favorite shows. George Costanza was a really quirky character in that show. And there was one episode where he had this hat. And he wanted to date this lady. Is everybody familiar with this episode? And he wanted to date this lady. And Jerry was saying to him, George, you have no shot. She's way out of your league. And he's like, you know what? All I need is 3 dates with her. She's going to know who I am. She's going to want to go out with me. So he came up with this plan of getting in front of the lady 3 times. And he's like, you know what? I'm like that annoying jingle you see on TV where at first you hear it and you're super annoyed by it. The second time you hear it, you kind of get it stuck in your head. And the third time it's Costanza. You know it by heart. Anybody familiar with those jingles you hear on the radio or TV where you can literally hum the song or sing it and you have no idea what company it had, what company produced it, but you know the song by heart. That's what we call the Costanza method, and we use that in our marketing. We want you to be in front of the customers in your area multiple times, so that way when they think of your product, they think of you. So it's getting attention. Creating 3 to 5 pillar pieces of content in video form that you can put out on the different social platforms. Whether that be a 3-minute video that you chunk down into smaller bite-sized pieces for Instagram and Facebook, or use it over the course of a couple months. And then we use advertising. Advertising on social platforms is huge. It's very inexpensive, and it's a great way to push your message in front of the people who are in your geographic location, in your zip code, have certain interests, maybe visiting your area. If you're in a tourist area, you can target people who live in your area. You can target people who were recently in your area, or you could target people who are visiting your area, which means that they're in your area now, but they live 125 miles away. So if you're in a tourist town and your town is full of people who come visit you, targeting on Facebook can target them when they're in their area. Or maybe you sell a product that they can buy when they leave, or they come back every year. You could target them over and over and over again. And with video, the one thing that you can do with video that you can't do as well with copy or photos is retargeting. You can retarget people who have watched a certain percentage of that video. So if you produce a video and someone watches, it's a 60-second video, and somebody watches 45 seconds of that video, they are a customer of yours, or they should be. Now, you can target people who have watched 75% of that video with a certain ad. You could target somebody who's watched 3% of that video with a different ad. And the reason you do that is because someone who watches 3 seconds or 3% of your video is in a much different spot in the buying cycle than somebody who's watched almost all of that video. If you produce a 60-second or whatever length that video is, and somebody watches 75% of that video, they're really, really interested in what you do. And they've shown that because you look at Facebook or whatever it is like this. And if you can stop the scroll and get somebody on social media to watch 75% of a video, regardless of how long it is, you've done something right. Which means you should be retargeting them with other ads, which we'll talk about tomorrow, with your product and how they can become a customer of yours. And that's the take action part. It's great to produce all this content. You want to produce video, but you actually want them to take some sort of action. And that's why producing the content on video gets them interested in you, gets them to know, like, and trust you, and then the retargeting gets them to buy from you. So what kind of videos should you be creating? These are small clips from a customer of ours, Tomasino's Pizza in Orlando. And what we do is, this is one of the clients that's doing the vlog style video. They produce long form content about, and they're not even in the video. So if you guys are thinking to yourself, I don't want to be on camera, or I'm afraid or nervous to be in front of the camera, they're not even in front of the camera. It's all of their team or product or customers or chefs. You won't see them in one video because they're the same way. They don't want to be in front of the camera, but they've listened to us and they understand that video is important and they've taken some action. So the best types of video for people in the restaurant space are product demonstrations, how you do what you do. We all have stories to tell. A lot of us, especially in my industry, the pizza industry, everybody kind of uses the same product. Sells the same items on the menu. They have the same employees that rotate throughout the city, going from you to the next one, to then to the next one, and they come and circling back around to you. What makes you different? What makes you different from the person across the street or in the next zip code from you that somebody else could buy from you? That's what you should be doing on video, okay? You have to demonstrate. You have to tell your story. And what makes you different is you, your team, the people who work with you, your customers. That's what makes it interesting for people to watch. Introduce your team. Let them know who's coming in. If someone's a customer of yours, or if you're not, maybe you have 3 restaurants and you can't physically be in every single restaurant, your manager in that restaurant that's running that restaurant for you should be the most well-known person in your town. Because when a customer walks into that door and says, Sue, I know you. I've seen you. I recognize Sue because I see her on all the videos. I know she's not the owner, but every time I walk into her restaurant, I see her, and I'm comfortable, which makes me do a couple different things. Makes me not afraid to order, and it makes me not afraid to reach out to Sue if there's a problem in my restaurant. If there's a problem in my restaurant and I know the owner, how many times have you guys got emails from friends who have visited your restaurant, and they know you, and they had a bad experience, and they email you because they know you? Not because they found your email address on your website and said, let me just email the owner. No, they know you, and they're like, Joe, I had a problem in your restaurant. This is what happened. I thought you should know about it. Video with your team gives you the ability to make somebody else the star, and they don't email you. They're going to email your manager, which is what you really want them to do anyway. So becoming the ambassador of your town is another thing that we try to focus on. Brand. I started this talk talking about branding over marketing. Becoming the most well-known person in your area is super valuable. And the reason that it's valuable is because you can do a lot of things with attention. We started our podcast using video, using the podcast. I'm here speaking to you in front of this audience right now because of video, because we decided to become the most well-known person in our industry when it comes to marketing, and we use video to do that. You can easily do that in your own town. Become the person who interviews or talks with other business owners. Your network in your small town, however big it is, Brian's a good example of that, is enormously important. The more people that you know, and the more people that know you, gives you the ability to sell them more things and have them come into your restaurant. Much more likely to do that than they are the competitor. And then you can break that down into micro content. The micro content is just the smaller forms of content that we use on Instagram, Facebook stories, Snapchat, all that stuff. Now you're probably thinking, what do I do? How do I record that video? So the first thing, you have to get some sort of equipment. And I feel like some people overthink the equipment part of the video production. You could literally use your phone. The phone that you probably have in your pocket or your possession right now is 10 times better when it comes to video than we had for video production 10 or 15 years ago with thousands of dollars in our budget. Your phone can do 4K video, and it can record all of that video and edit it in iMovie or whatever platform you want to use, and then finish and export that all from within your cell phone. You don't need any other platform. So if you want to start just with your cell phone, you can do that. The first camera there is a Canon. These are specific items that I think you should use. So the first one is a Canon camera. It's called the T6i. You can see it right there. We're using it to record this right now. The T6i, it's $500 for the camera, which if you own a restaurant in the marketing budget isn't an enormous amount of money. And the one on top is called a Rode microphone. And what that does is it singles in and zooms in on the audio. That's the person in front of that camera. And it can do a pretty good job. So if I stand here and I didn't have this microphone on, that microphone on that camera is going to pick up my voice and not the background noise so that video audio quality is just as good as the video quality. That setup right there is probably about $600 on Amazon. If you do use your cell phone, the handheld device next to that Canon is called a Zoom. No, it's called, Zoom. And what it does is it stabilizes it. There's a couple things you want to think about when you do video. The audio quality is important. So especially if you're in a kitchen, sometimes if you're in a kitchen, there's a lot of background noise, or there's a lot of customers or commotion happening. You want to make sure that you minimize that. And then you also want to get steadiness. There's nothing worse than watching a video that is going to make you motion sick or you can't hear them. And that device right there, I think it's $100, so it's not super expensive, but you attach your camera to it or your cell phone, and as you move around, it stabilizes the video so that way you could be walking or you could be outside or you could be having to move around and it stays steady. So that video that you produce is super steady all the time. And then on the right, far right, those are just lav mics, what I have on right here. You can get a lav mic that connects to your cell phone for $20. And that's going to directly take your voice and put it into that video, rather than if you do a video on your cell phone, you're probably back 10 or 15 feet. What you don't want to have happen is have a ton of noise in the background. The video came out fantastic. You look great. There's no stains on your shirt. Your hair was perfect, and you can't hear a word you're saying. So the lav mic helps you not have that happen. And all these items are very cheap. You can get these on Amazon for super cheap. I suggest you start with your cell phone and a lav mic. I wouldn't even get the stand. I would use your cell phone, get a lav mic, make sure that audio is good, and start producing video in the short term for Instagram, for Facebook, for Snapchat. Now what do you do? Where should you put that video? I talked a lot about Instagram. I talked a lot about Facebook. I talked a lot about YouTube. Let's go into this. The different platforms. So there's Facebook. The platforms that we focus on right now are Facebook, Instagram, a little YouTube. I'm going to be honest with you. For restaurants, YouTube is harder to gain traction on. Facebook and Instagram is pretty simple because you can use ads to get in front of that. And unless you really have high quality content, it's going to be hard for you to gain traction on YouTube over time. You can use Google Ads, but you're going to have to be more specific with that video, and it's going to have to be an ad. Okay? You can produce content about your restaurant, product demonstrations, interview customers, have your chef become the best known person in your restaurant, and put that on Facebook or Instagram. But on YouTube, it's going to be a little bit harder of a strategy. So Facebook. The one thing you want to keep in mind is Facebook is noisy. There's a lot of content on Facebook. There's a lot of ads. There's a lot of scrolling. So you want to be precise. What we found, 60 to 90 seconds on Facebook is tops. No one's going to watch more than that. If you do a video, no matter how long it is, if it's longer than 60 or 90 seconds, nobody is getting past the 60 or 90 second spot. You could have a video that's 10 minutes long and it could be the best video ever, and on Facebook, no one's going to watch more than 60 or 90 seconds. So be specific with who it's intended for, and make sure that a lot of people make the mistake of doing a video on Facebook and they talk about themselves for the first 10 or 15 seconds and you already lost their attention. If you hop on a video on Facebook and you say, hey, this is Bruce from Smart Pizza Marketing, thank you so much for tuning in, they're gone. You need to be, that first 3 to 5 seconds, you need to be, hey, you watching this video right now, we're doing a special tonight, or this is our chef, you're going to know him when you come in. That first 5 seconds is the most important 5 seconds in a video on Facebook. So remember that when you do your videos. Don't introduce yourself until after. Don't talk about yourself until after. Get to the point, make sure that that first 3 to 5 seconds, like that's all you have. Not 15, not 20, you have 3 seconds to make sure that they stick around. If you don't get to the point in that 3 seconds, you're going to lose them. And Facebook's going to tell you that 14,000 people saw that video, and you're going to go to the analytics, and you're going to realize that out of those 14,000 people, 13,997 of them left after 3 seconds. So you're going to be like, yay, I got 14,000 views. And then you're going to look and you'll be like, wow, 4 people actually watched it. Dang. So get to the point. And then spend money. On social media, you have to spend money. Instagram, Facebook. There's a huge opportunity right now. We are in the infancy of digital marketing. It is, for digital marketing, ad spending. Digital marketing has been around for a long time. People have been using Instagram and Facebook for a long time. But as independent restaurant owners, or franchisees, whichever you are, spending money on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube for ads is the best money you are ever going to spend right now. And it's the most affordable it's ever going to be. There is going to be big companies who realize that those direct mail campaigns, or those newspapers, or those TV commercials that nobody's watching anymore because they're fast forwarding through those, They're going to realize that those aren't working as good as they used to, and they're going to come to Facebook, and they're going to come to Instagram, and they're going to come to YouTube, and they're going to spend their millions of dollars of ad budgets on those platforms, and you guys are going to get pushed out of the market. And you're not going to get pushed out of the market like they're going to say, you can't come in here anymore. They're just going to say, hey, that video view that cost you 50 cents last year, that cost you $15 now. It's going to be like the days of Google AdWords. Does anybody run Google AdWords 10 or 12 years ago? You could buy the word pizza for like 8 cents on Google AdWords. So if someone typed in pizza near me for like 10 cents, you could be on top. Now it's like $14. That's what Facebook and Instagram is going to be a year from now, 2 years from now. It's going to be pricing you out. That same amount of money you could spend on those platforms if you do it well is going to be 4 to 7 times higher just 2 years from now. And it's not because Facebook's going to be like, yes, everybody's coming to Facebook, let's charge them more. It's just there's only a certain amount of space they can have on these platforms available for ads before the users start to get so annoyed that they leave the platforms. And we're not at that point yet. We're close, but we're not there yet. So spend some money and then retarget, retarget, retarget. If someone watches your video, retarget them. Make it specific, okay? If someone watches 3 seconds of your video, you should immediately send them another video that says, hey, why did you watch 3 seconds of my video? You know they did. Show them that video. If someone watches 75% of your video, you should be like, wow, thank you so much for watching that video. Here's what I have for you, specifically for hanging out with me. Like, make it very specific. Social media and the demographics and the insights that you have makes it very easy to be a smart marketer nowadays. Much easier than coming up with a flyer and saying, I want to target this zip code. I'm just going to mail it to everybody and cross my fingers and hold my breath. Hopefully they liked it. Instagram. Everybody on Instagram here? Everybody use it? Raise your hand if you use Instagram. Come on, don't lie. It's okay, buddy. We're all on it. And raise it high. Be proud. Use both platforms. So everybody's familiar. There's stories and there's the feed. 2 different platforms. For video, 60 seconds you're allowed to use in the feed. You can use up to 15 seconds on the story, but you can have as many stories as you want. Let me give you a tip. Don't go crazy with your stories. Okay? Keep it to like 6 or 8, especially as a business owner. If anybody opens up their Instagram stories and they see 47 bars on the top of the screen, I can guarantee you they're not going to get past the first 3. All right? I know me as a consumer and people that I talk to and work with, from the insights that we see, the more bars, the less views. So keep those bars as big as you can. On the top of the screen, you're going to see different bars. The bigger they are, the less stories there are, and the more likely you are to have someone complete the story. And remember, it's a story. It's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then it should start over the next day because they disappear after 24 hours. Keep it like that. Don't get so excited one day and have 47 of them, and then the next 2 or 3 days you don't have any. Be consistent. And they can be a little less formal than the feed. The feed sticks around. People are going to go to your Instagram account, they're going to search you out, and they're going to go look you up on Facebook. They're going to go look at your reviews. They're going to go check your Instagram out. And if they see a hot mess on your feed, they're going to judge you. We live in a society where people judge each other. As sad as that is, it happens, especially businesses. Your digital footprint is how people perceive you in the marketplace, especially if they don't know you. If they're new to town, I'm new to Milwaukee. This is my first time here. I'm going to Google places to go. I'm going to check them out on Google. I'm going to research them, and then I'm going to go check out their social footprints. And you have a much more likely chance to get a visitor who doesn't know you to visit you if you have some sort of content in a consistent form on these platforms. Instagram, Facebook, keep it simple, be consistent with it constantly. It doesn't have to be every single day. It could be 2 to 3 times a week. I'll tell you right now, if you do it every day, you're much better off. I know people say that you don't want to overwhelm people, but right now, if you do consistently post to Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter every single day, you're gonna see a far more reach and more customers because of that. And then LinkedIn. Don't forget about LinkedIn. That's a good platform, especially if you're a B2B. If you do catering or events or anything like that, LinkedIn's a great platform. The people who make those decisions on where they're going to get those office meetings for are probably on LinkedIn. And you can do video on LinkedIn now. Again, same thing. You can do up to 10 minutes of video on LinkedIn, but the longer is not always the better. You want to make sure that you keep that video between 2 to 4 minutes on LinkedIn. Okay? The shorter, the better. You want to make sure People ask me, how long should I have this video be? I tell them, make it as long as it has to be, but as short as you possibly can. As long as it has to be to get that message across, but as short as you can make it. If you can get your message across in 42 seconds, do it. If you can get that same message across in 20 seconds, don't make that video 25. Don't make it any longer than it absolutely has to be. The shorter, the better. People's attention span is just not as, they don't have attention span, actually. I don't even know. It's not even short. It's non-existent. And then Facebook ads. Facebook video ads, Instagram stories ads, retargeting, swipe up ads right now. If there's one thing you could take away from this, make a video, put it on Instagram, use Facebook Business Manager, do an Instagram video swipe up ad. I can guarantee you're going to get more traffic to your website using that than you will any other tool right now. My seminar tomorrow is more about diving deeper into the different tactics for marketing. We're going to talk about that, but I'll give, if anybody's going to miss that one, Instagram stories ads, the ads you see as you scroll in between people's stories, the best marketing dollars you can spend right now, the best. You're going to spend $10 and you're going to get 50 clicks to your website, and if that's an online ordering or a booking dinner portal, you're going to get people to sign up as long as that video is appropriate. So don't be afraid to spend money on ads. Does everybody here spend money on social media? Anybody not spend money on social media? Are you just holding out? Yeah. Cool. All right, video tools. One thing you'll notice, when people watch a video, I bet you, and I know this, I'm going to win this bet, by the way, so I'll bet you money, but I'm going to win. A lot of people watch a video with the sound off. So one thing you want to do is make sure that you have captions. And if you use rev.com, it's a website, you upload whatever video or audio you have, and for $1 per minute, they'll create video captions in an SRT file that you can upload to that video. And what that does is it lets people scroll and watch the video while having the sound off, and they can still understand what's happening in that video. You'll be surprised about the amount of people who watch videos in places they're not supposed to be watching videos. Okay? A lot of people watch, they're at work, they're supposed to be working, they're at school, and they're just watching YouTube videos. For those people, make sure you have captions. Help them out a little bit. They're not doing their job, or they're not really focusing at school. Let's make their life a little bit happier and easier. Put some captions in those things. So rev.com, easy, $1 a minute. If your videos are 2 minutes, you do a video, 2 minutes, costs you $2, gets everything recorded. There's a lot of tools out there that let you have the captions in the video. Rev.com is the best one for accents like mine from Boston or wherever you are to actually pick up what you're saying, and you don't have to edit them. It's going to take that 2 or 3 minute video, and it's going to be word for word what you said.
It's auto-generated, or someone actually listens and creates?
No idea. I say, rev.com, take this video, and they're like, here you go, Bruce. And I check it. I don't even ask any questions. I say, here's your $2. Thank you so much. Capwing. So Capwing, if you scroll on Instagram and you see these videos that have, like that one up there, little text on top, video down the bottom, and then captions on it, that's created on capwing.com. It's free. It's going to have a watermark for you. Or you could pay, I think it's $20 a month to remove the watermark and get a little bit more features than the free version. But here's another thing that happens. As we create more content in the world, people's attention gets less and less. What you want to do is you need to be able to stop the scroll. You need to be able to have them stop scrolling and pay attention to your video. You can have the best video in the world, but if you don't have captions on it on Instagram, the likelihood of someone stopping is half of what it is if you do. Marketing your restaurant has never been easier. If someone's in the restaurant business, they stop on that. And then they're going to listen to that video or watch the captions. If I remove that, and I just have that picture of me talking, they're like, I don't give a shit about this guy. Who is this guy? I could care less. I don't want to watch that video. They just scroll right by it. But when I put the caption on top, I'm a restaurant owner. It's never been harder for me. What is he talking about? Maybe we'll just watch this video. So adding captions to your videos is going to increase the views. Increases in the views gives you a better opportunity to retarget them and turn them into a customer. Cut story, another one. You don't necessarily need this as much with Instagram now or Snapchat because it cuts up that longer video for you. But before, you had to cut that 60-second video into 15-second clips, which you don't really need as much anymore. And then Adobe Premiere. I mean, Adobe Premiere can be a little intimidating if you have never used it before, but you can start off really, really simple, add your video, cut the clips out, edit it a little bit, and it's pretty simple to figure out. I'm not a tech guy. I mean, I know the technology, but when it comes to Adobe, I don't even want to go anywhere near that. But I can take a video, upload it to Adobe from my phone, cut it out so that 2-minute video is down to 45 seconds, and the cuts are pretty quick, and that's the only thing I use for Adobe, and it's the best one. iMovie on your phone works pretty well, but Adobe is much better. iMovie on your phone can be, if you have to, in a pinch, edit a video, you can use iMovie, but Adobe just intuitively gives you the tools that you need to cut it up a little bit easier, and then you can export that. All right, so in closing, embrace video. Don't be afraid of it. A lot of people I talk to say, I don't want to do video, I'm afraid to be on camera, they're intimidated by being on it. Don't be afraid. I've never had anybody do a video that we work with, and a customer emails them and been like, you know what, I am never doing business with you again because I saw you in a video. It's never happened. You're going to stink in the beginning. Be okay with it. We've done over 250 podcasts and 250 videos, interviews. If you go back and watch our first, actually, please don't do that. I'm actually going to delete them before I leave here. But if I didn't delete them and you go watch the beginning ones, we completely sucked. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know where the camera was. The audio was bad, but we consistently did it over time and you get better. And everybody who starts with video, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you are gonna get better over time. But you gotta do. You're not gonna get better over time by coming to seminars and watching guys speak about video. You gotta do the video. You gotta produce the video. Take that selfie. As embarrassing as it is sometimes to be in public and take a selfie, if it's important and it's content you need to create, it's okay. We're in a world now where my wife's 80-year-old aunt is on Facebook taking selfies. It's okay. She's Greek too, so it's even more awkward. She got that loud accent going on.
Would you suggest if you're going to start with one, Instagram or Facebook?
It depends. Personally, I would do Instagram, but if you're a restaurant, I would still go towards Facebook. And the only reason is the ad platform on Facebook is much better than Instagram. Even though Instagram is owned by Facebook, the targeting that you can narrow in on Facebook is much better than it is on Instagram. It's getting better on Instagram. Here's a tip. If you do ads on Instagram and Facebook or Instagram says, hey, let us create that audience for you, you give them 2 middle fingers and don't ever let them do that for you. Say, no way, because they stink at it. They're not very good at targeting on Instagram, so don't ever let them do that. But I would start with Facebook if I was going to start with one. Yeah, you'll get better as you go. And think about it, each platform is different. Here's one thing I didn't touch on. The people who are on Facebook are different than the people who are on Instagram. They're different than the people who are on YouTube, and they're different than the people who are on Twitter. Okay, so think about the platform that you're creating that content for and where it's going to be distributed. You may do a long-form video for YouTube, take the best 60 to 90 seconds, put that on Facebook, take the best 30 seconds of that and put it on Instagram. But your copy does matter. Even though you're producing video, what you write when you get someone's attention in the video, in the copy, makes a difference. And when you're running ads, like we do in the restaurant space, you want to be as specific as you possibly can. If you're targeting people and they're moms who have soccer kids, say that in the video. Hey, you're a mom that has soccer kids. After soccer practice, come in and see us. They're gonna be like, how the heck did you know that? And it's gonna be like, because you put 47 pictures of your team on Facebook and it noticed that. And I'm smart, I targeted them. So be specific. That's the one advantage you're gonna have. If you're struggling or fighting for consumer attention in your market, be specific. Create many pieces of content specific to a certain genre and then push that in front of them. And you're gonna be the most well-known person in your town. And if you're afraid to be on camera, make your manager do it and have it be part of the job description. Hey, listen, I'm afraid to be on video, so I'm hiring you and I'm paying you your salary. It's part of the job, buddy. You got to do it. And then they're going to be okay with it because otherwise they're going to get fired. And then have them do it. And then they're going to be the most well-known person in your area. And you're going to have a much better chance of getting people who don't know you to trust you because you're doing video. So that is it from me. If you want to follow us, Smart Pizza Marketing on Instagram, Irving Media on because we started Twitter like in 1982. That's why it's different. And then Facebook, Smart Pizza Marketing as well. I know it says pizza, but what we talk about in our podcast and what we talk about in our videos is Doesn't necessarily have to do with pizza. You can use it in any platform. But if you want some tips on how we do video, we always give out free videos, free podcasts, and we do all that on those platforms. So if anybody has any questions, I'll stick around. Any question you have, whether about marketing or video, production, tools, tips, anything. Now's your chance.
Real quick, when you talk about customer testimonials,
Yep.
don't you have to have an okay from them that you can post that?
Yeah, but if someone's going to give you a customer testimonial on video, I'm pretty sure they're going to be like okay with it being posted on social.
But not as kids, like high school students or anything.
I mean, I would stay, if there's any awkwardness or hesitation, I would probably not do that video. You know, if there's a group of kids that come into your restaurant and they're younger, I probably wouldn't even ever go up to them and be like, hey, you want to create a video? Because I would know that their parents probably won't be okay with that. I'd stick to more adults on that.
I've done a lot of videos with kids and parents, and I think it's state law that you have to have at least their permission, if not a permission slip.
Yeah, I wouldn't do any kids in video. I know as a parent of kids, I wouldn't want that, I just wouldn't want that for business purposes. Any other questions from anybody? Yes.
I have been using Facebook and Instagram very actively. I experienced ROI.
Yep.
I never knew LinkedIn. I can use it for social media marketing. But do you think is it effective as much as Facebook or Instagram?
It depends on what your demographic in your area is. And LinkedIn advertising is 10 times higher than Facebook or Instagram. It costs a lot more money. And the difference between Facebook and Instagram advertising versus LinkedIn is LinkedIn has a floor, which means you have to spend a certain amount of money. Facebook doesn't. Facebook is very much like Google, where it's based on competition. How much competition is it in the feed at that time in that audience that you've selected? And the more narrow that you get, the more cost efficient it is. And it also has to do with how people are interacting with your content already. So if you're producing content and people are really active with it, you're going to spend less money on Facebook or Instagram versus LinkedIn just says this is what it costs, regardless of whether your page has great retention of customers or not.
Do I have to make a separate account for my own business, right?
Yeah, you know what? On LinkedIn, if I was going to start LinkedIn, I probably wouldn't do a business page. I would make either myself the person, the brand behind the business name, and I would have people follow me, or I would have my managers hop on LinkedIn and create profiles and then put their job description as my company. So I probably would have a business page, but that's not the place I would put my content. I would make myself the best known person on LinkedIn and interact in a hand-to-hand combat kind of way and go leave comments and build my network there, and then also have my managers do that as well. We live in a different time. Back in the day, you used to have managers fill envelopes and put stamps on postcards and help you with flyers. Take all of that time and attention that they used to spend on that and have them build their personal brands, helping you grow your business. And they can do that in their market too. And yes, you're going to have some employees who you probably wouldn't want on social media, or you probably don't want representing you. But listen, they're taking money from your customers. They're in your business now representing you. So if you don't want them to associate with your business on Instagram, what the hell are they doing in your business taking monies from your customers in real life? So think about it that way. Any other questions? Yeah.
Back to your soccer mom.
I love soccer moms.
Yeah. And you made the comment they were wondering, well, how did I get targeted for this? How did they know that? And you said because you have 4,800 pictures of soccer. Right. Does Facebook actually recognize what's in that picture and then lumps them in as a soccer mom?
Here's the thing. Facebook knows everything. Facebook knows you 14 people are in here right now, and I'm going to retarget you when you leave. Facebook can hear the words that you say in a video because they have captioning service inside of Facebook that will dictate the words you said on a video. So whatever you say on a video when you put it on Facebook, Facebook knows. So that soccer mom who created a video, hey, look at my little Sammy, he just scored his first soccer goal. Facebook knows that. Goes into their targeting metrics. Now, Facebook got in a lot of trouble recently because they had a lot of controversy with selling data, but for us marketers, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I know that it was kind of bad for people because they were selling data, but I'm like, listen, don't put your data in there. Don't take all those stupid trivia games telling you everything in your life that's happened to you since you were 18. You did that. And we're just taking advantage of it as business owners and marketers. So it knows a lot more than you think it knows. Now, I bet you everybody's going to leave here and like delete Facebook or go change their criteria. I'm going to start doing videos that I don't talk into now, or I'm going to say something different than what's in the video and see if it tricks them. They know a lot. If you do a video or you're on Instagram, follow me, @SmartPizzaMarketing, tag me in your video. My goal today was to come here and make sure that everybody leaves here and is like, you know what, I'm going to do video. I'm inspired, I'm motivated, I know it can work. Do a video, tag me in it, or just send me a hello on Instagram. Let me know how you're doing and what your business is. We'll follow you. Thank you, everybody.